My name is Laura Richards. I work for Macmillan as a benefits advisor. This video is to explain benefits for people of working age. Working age is currently 16 to 66, so that's as of 2024-2025. Benefits fall into two categories, means tested and non-means tested. If you are working age and in paid employment, your employers should pay you sick pay so long as you meet the criteria for sick pay. Broadly speaking, the qualifications are you've started work with your employer, you're sick for 4 days or more in a row, which includes your non-working days, and you earn at least £123 a week on average before tax. What your employers pay you is up to them, as long as they pay you at least the amount of statutory sick pay, which is currently £116.75 a week. Your contract should explain if you're entitled to contractual sick pay or you're only paid statutory sick pay. Depending on your circumstances, you might also be able to apply for universal credit. This is as long as your savings don't exceed £16,000. Universal credit permits savings of up to £6,000, but if your savings are between £6,000 and £16,000, they are then subject to a deduction of £4.35 from every £250 over the £6,000 that you have. Universal credit is made up of different elements which depend on your situation. It's also worth pointing out at this stage, if you're part of a couple and one of you is working age and one of you is pension age, then you apply for universal credit. There is a basic element for a single person or a basic element if you're part of a couple. If you have a partner that lives with you, you must make a joint claim. There is a rent element whether you're a council or a housing association tenant, or if you rent privately. If you have children, there is a child element. If you are a carer, there is also a carer element. There is also an element for anyone who's not well enough to work. You have to indicate on your claim that you are off sick, and you also have to provide a valid fit note from your GP to substantiate your claim. All elements are applied to your situation when you apply for universal credit, except the element for people who are not well enough to work. There is a waiting period of around 13 weeks before this element is applied to your claim. Applications for universal credit are made online. If you don't have internet facilities or you have difficulties that prevent you from using the internet, you can make a telephone claim. Once you've made your claim, you will have to wait 5 weeks for your first payment. If this would leave you in some financial hardship, you can ask for an advance payment, which would be paid back through subsequent payments. You will need to ask for an advance payment, it won't be offered to you. To calculate how much universal credit you will be paid, they will look at the income you're already receiving and also your partner's income. Any sick pay you receive is taken into account, as well as any income that your partner might have if they are employed. If you rent privately, then your rent element is calculated using the local housing allowance amount for your area, and then that is the maximum amount that would be paid towards covering your rent. If you have a mortgage, there is very limited help available for you. If you are entitled to universal credit has a support for mortgage interest element that could be applied to your account. Again, you'll have to apply for this, it won't be offered to you. And the way that it works is it will pay towards the interest part of your mortgage only, not the capital part. It's paid as a loan, it's paid at the rate that Universal Credit have set, and it's paid directly to your mortgage provider. As mentioned, it is a loan, so you do have to pay it back at some point, although you don't have to pay it back until you sell your property. A small amount of interest is added to the loan, so there is an element of that when you have to pay your loan back. Sometimes it's better to actually speak to your provider to see if there's any help they can offer you so that you can continue to pay your mortgage. But I have mentioned it because it is something available should anybody want to look into that. In most circumstances, Universal Credit will pay for up to 2 children born after the 6th of April 2017, but there can be some exceptions. For the limited capability to work element, during the 13-week waiting period, you will be sent a UC50 form to complete. If the reason that you're not working is because of your cancer diagnosis and you don't have any other health conditions that would prevent you from working, you only need to complete the form up to the question about a cancer diagnosis. You then need to give the form to one of your nurses and ask her to complete the back page of the form. This confirms any treatment you're having, treatment that you're expecting, how long your treatment will last and what your recovery time may be. You then sign and date the form and send it back to the DWP. And then at the end of the 13 weeks, as long as the treatment you're having is substantial treatment such as immunotherapy, chemotherapy or radiotherapy, you will have the extra element applied to your account. In some cases, some people only qualify for universal credit when this extra element is applied. And if this is your situation, you still need to make a claim because the claim can remain open while you're through the waiting period. If you are self-employed, then you're not entitled to receive sick pay. So there is another benefit that you can consider. You can also look at applying for this benefit if your sick pay has come to an end, but you're still not ready to return to work because you're still recovering from treatment or still having treatment. This benefit is called New Style Employment and Support Allowance, and it looks at your national insurance contributions for the last 2 complete tax years. From 2025, these will be 2022 to 2023 and 2023 to 2024. As long as your contributions meet the level they're looking for throughout this period of time, you will be paid this benefit. It's paid at an assessment rate of £90.50 a week. It also has an extra element paid after the same waiting period as universal credit of around 13 weeks, and it follows the same process as universal credit, where it will send you a form to complete. The form is the same as the universal credit one, it's just called an ESA 50 instead of a UC 50, but you again still complete the form up to the question about your cancer diagnosis if that is the only reason that you're not able to work. New Style Employment Support Allowance doesn't take into account any savings that you have, or if you have a partner, it doesn't consider their income either. But if you are receiving a pension as well, whether it's a personal pension or an occupational pension, that may affect the amount that you are paid. If you pay rent or also have children, this benefit can be paid in conjunction with universal credit, so you can make an application for both. You may also be entitled to some support with your council tax, some council tax reduction. But again, if you have savings that exceed £16,000, you won't be able to apply. To apply for council tax reduction, you apply directly to the council. Applications are made online through your local council. The non-means tested disability benefit for working age people is a benefit called PIP, or Personal Independent Payment. And this benefit considers how you're affected by your health condition or your health conditions. It wants to know all health conditions that you have, physical health and mental health. It has 2 components, a daily living and a mobility component, and both of these components are assessed separately. There are 2 rates of pay. There's a standard rate and an enhanced rate. If you get 8 points for the daily living, you will be paid at the standard rate. If you get 12 points, you will be paid at the enhanced rate, and it's the same for the mobility component. The activities that PIP considers is your ability to prepare a meal, any difficulties with eating and drinking, managing your medications, washing, using a toilet, dressing, any issues with your hearing or your sight, engaging with other people and managing money. The mobility activities are planning and following a journey and moving around. PIP is applied for by phoning for a form and then completing and returning the form within a month from the date on the form, along with medical evidence to confirm your health conditions, physical and mental. The number to call for a form is 0800 917 2222. You will then, once you've completed and returned the form, be given a date for an assessment. The assessments usually take place by way of a phone call or by a video call if you have a phone that is able to do that. A decision is then made by PIP once they've received the report that the assessor has written, and they will write to you to tell you when the decision has been made whether you're entitled to the benefit or not. If you're not entitled, you have the right to appeal. The first stage of the appeal is called asking for a mandatory reconsideration. You go back directly to PIP and ask them to reconsider the decision that they've made. If the decision that they make again is still not a decision you're happy with, you can then ask for an independent tribunal panel to hear your case and decide if they think you're entitled to receive PIP. If you already receive disability allowance, you cannot apply for PIP as you can only have one disability benefit at a time. If you receive PIP, then there is an entitlement to somebody who cares for you to apply for carers allowance if they meet the criteria. The criteria is basically they have to be 16 or over, they have to look after you for at least 35 hours a week, they have to have lived in England, Scotland or Wales for at least 2 of the last 3 years, they have to normally live in England, they can't be in full-time education, they can't study for at least 21 hours a week or more, they can't be subject to immigration control, and their earnings have to be no more than £151 a week after tax, national insurance and expenses. We do advise that you do consult with a Macmillan Benefits advisor if you think you would like to apply for any of these benefits, because especially with the disability benefit, we can then go through your situation and circumstances to see if we think it's worth you applying. And if you then do apply and would like some help with your form, then we are very happy to assist you and help you complete your form.